The vast expanse of space had always held secrets, but none quite as explosive as the humans of Earth. As the Galactic Confederacy's scout ship Nexus Seeker dropped out of faster-than-light travel on the fringes of the Sol system, Captain Zarlak of the Volteri species felt a mix of excitement and trepidation coursing through his gelatinous form. Scanners detect multiple artificial structures on the third planet and its satellite, reported Science Officer Ixel, her translucent appendages dancing over the holographic controls. Primitive propulsion technology, but extensive colonization of their orbital space. Zarlak's central eye pulsed with interest. Fascinating. They've managed to establish a presence beyond their homeworld without achieving FTL travel. Most unusual. The bridge of the Nexus Seeker hummed with activity as the crew prepared for humanity's first contact with an alien civilization. None of them could have predicted the chain of events their arrival would set in motion. "Captain," called out Communications Officer Vex, his antennae twitching nervously, "we're receiving a transmission from the planet's surface. Audio and visual." Zarlak's gelatinous form rippled with anticipation. On screen, the main view screen flickered to life, revealing a human female with dark skin and close-cropped hair. She wore a crisp uniform adorned with insignias that the ship's AI quickly identified as military in nature. "Unknown vessel, this is General Amara Chen of the United Earth Defense Force. You have entered restricted space. Identify yourself and state your purpose immediately." Zarlak was taken aback by the forceful tone but composed himself quickly. "Greetings, General Chen. I am Captain Zarlak of the Galactic Confederacy scout ship Nexus Seeker. We come in peace, seeking to establish first contact with your species." General Chen's expression remained impassive, but her eyes narrowed slightly. "Captain Zarlak, while we appreciate your peaceful intentions, your unannounced arrival has put our planet on high alert. We request that you maintain your current position while we consult with our world leaders." "Of course, General. We will comply with your request," Zarlak responded, trying to project an air of calm authority. As the transmission ended, the bridge erupted into excited chatter. First Contact Specialist Luma, a bioluminescent Aryan, floated forward. "Captain, their response seems unusually guarded for a species encountering alien life for the first time. Perhaps we should approach this situation with extra caution." Zarlak's form rippled in agreement. "Indeed, Lumi. Their military readiness is concerning. Ixel, what can you tell me about their defensive capabilities?" The science officer's appendages danced over her console once more. "Primitive by our standards, Captain, but not insignificant. They possess nuclear weapons, kinetic strike platforms in orbit, and a sizable fleet of armed spacecraft. However, their weapons would be largely ineffective against our shields." "Let's hope it doesn't come to that," Zarlak mused. "Vex, open a channel to Galactic Confederacy High Command. They'll want to know about this development immediately." As the hours ticked by, tension aboard the Nexus Seeker grew. The humans had maintained radio silence since the initial contact, and long-range scanners showed increased activity around their planet and its satellite. "Captain," Vex called out suddenly, "we're receiving another transmission from the surface." The view screen flickered to life once more, this time showing a diverse group of humans seated around a large table. At the center sat a distinguished-looking man with silver hair and piercing blue eyes. "Greetings, Captain Zarlak. I am President Alexander Novak of the United Earth Government. We apologize for the delay in our response. As you can imagine, your arrival has caused quite a stir on our world." Zarlak's central eye pulsed with relief. "Thank you for contacting us, President Novak. We understand the magnitude of this moment and are eager to begin peaceful dialogue between our civilizations." Novak nodded, his expression grave. "We share your desire for peace, Captain. However, we must prioritize the safety and sovereignty of Earth. We have some concerns we'd like to address before proceeding further." "Of course," Zarlak replied, his gelatinous form undulating slightly. We are here to answer any questions you may have." "Very well," Novik continued. "First and foremost, we need assurances that your presence here is not a prelude to invasion or colonization. Earth has a long history of conflict, and we've learned to be cautious." Zarlak's form rippled with surprise. "I assure you, President Novik, we have no such intentions. The Galactic Confederacy is founded on principles of peaceful cooperation and mutual benefit. We seek only to welcome new species into our interstellar community." Novik's eyes narrowed slightly. "And yet, you arrived unannounced, in a ship clearly capable of overwhelming our defenses. Surely you can understand our hesitation." The implications of the human's words sent a shudder through Zarlak's gelatinous body. He realized too late that their approach, standard procedure for first contact with pre-FTL civilizations, had been perceived as a potential threat. "President Novik, I apologize for any distress we may have caused. Our intention was to observe briefly before making contact, to ensure we did not disrupt your society. We meant no disrespect to your sovereignty." The human leader's expression softened slightly, but wariness remained in his eyes. "We appreciate your explanation, Captain. However, we must insist on a more formal declaration of your intentions. We propose a face-to-face meeting on neutral ground, our International Space Station. Would you be willing to send a small delegation to meet with our representatives?" Zarlak conferred briefly with his crew before responding. "We would be honored, President Novak. Please provide us with the necessary coordinates, and we will prepare a shuttle." As the transmission ended, Zarlak turned to his crew. "This situation is more delicate than we anticipated. Lumi, you'll accompany me to the space station. Ixal, I want you to continue analyzing their defenses, discreetly. Something tells me we may need that information." As the Nexus Seeker's shuttle approached the International Space Station, Zarlak couldn't shake a feeling of unease. The humans' reaction to their arrival had been far from the wonder and excitement they usually encountered. Instead, they had found a species hardened by conflict and deeply suspicious of outsiders. Little did Zarlak know that this first, tense encounter was merely the opening act in a drama that would reshape the galaxy and force every spacefaring race to reassess their understanding of one fundamental truth. When humans get angry, you run. The shuttle docked with a soft thud, and as the airlock cycled open, Zarlak steeled himself for whatever challenges lay ahead. The fate of two civilizations, and perhaps the entire Galactic Confederacy, now rested on his gelatinous shoulders. The Galactic Council's ultimatum. The meeting aboard the International Space Station had not gone as Captain Zarlak had hoped. Despite his best efforts to convey the Galactic Confederacy's peaceful intentions, the human representatives remained skeptical and guarded. Their questions were pointed, their demeanor tense, and their eyes constantly watchful. As Zarlak's shuttle docked with the Nexus Seeker, he felt a weight pressing down on his gelatinous form. First Contact Specialist Lumi floated beside him, her bioluminescent patterns pulsing with concern. "Captain," Lumi said softly, "I fear we may have critically misunderstood the human psyche. Their history of conflict has left deep scars. They view our presence not as an opportunity, but as a potential threat." Zarlak's central eye dimmed with worry. "I agree, Lumi. We need to report this to High Command immediately. The situation is far more volatile than we anticipated." As they entered the bridge, the crew's anticipation was palpable. Science Officer Ixal approached, her translucent appendages twisting nervously. "Captain, during your absence, we detected increased activity in Earth's orbital defenses. They've activated several dormant satellites and are moving their fleet into defensive positions." Zarlak's form rippled with alarm. "Open a channel to High Command. Priority Alpha." The view screen flickered to life, revealing the stern visage of High Counselor Vexalia, her crystalline form glittering under the lights of the Confederacy's central chamber. "Captain Zarlak," her voice resonated with authority, "your report is most disturbing. A species this paranoid and militaristic could pose a significant threat if they were to achieve faster-than-light travel." Zarlak's central eye pulsed anxiously. High Counselor, with all due respect, I believe we can still establish peaceful relations. The humans are cautious, yes, but not unreasonable, given time. Time is a luxury we cannot afford, Captain, Vexalia interrupted. The Galactic Council has convened and reached a decision. We cannot risk allowing such a volatile species to join the interstellar community without assurances. A sense of dread washed over Zarlak. What are your orders, High Counselor? Vexalia's crystalline form seemed to harden. You are to deliver an ultimatum to the humans. They must agree to join the Galactic Confederacy under our guidance and supervision. This will include the dismantling of their military forces and the sharing of all their technological advancements. In return, they will receive our protection and access to Confederacy resources. Zarlak's gelatinous body quivered with shock. High Counselor, with all due respect, such demands will be seen as a threat to their sovereignty. It could provoke the very conflict we seek to avoid. Your concerns are noted, Captain. Vexalia's tone was unyielding. But the decision has been made. The humans have 48 Earth hours to comply. If they refuse, you are to commence orbital bombardment of their military installations. We cannot allow a potentially hostile species to retain the capacity to threaten Confederacy interests. As the transmission ended, a heavy silence fell over the bridge. Zarlak turned to his crew, seeing his own disbelief and concern mirrored in their expressions. Vex, Zarlak addressed his communications officer. Open a channel to President Novak. We need to deliver this ultimatum, but perhaps we can find a way to make them understand the gravity of the situation. The next 2 hours were among the most tense of Zarlak's long career. President Novak and his advisors listened to the Confederacy's demands with growing anger and disbelief. This is outrageous. Novak's voice boomed through the comm channel. You come to our system uninvited, claim to seek peaceful relations, and then demand our complete surrender. This is not diplomacy, Captain Zarlak. This is imperialism. Zarlak's form undulated with distress. Please understand, President Novak. I do not agree with these demands, but I am bound by my duty. The Confederacy fears the potential threat your species could pose. Potential threat? General Chen interjected, her eyes blazing. You're the ones threatening us with orbital bombardment. We've done nothing but defend our home. You have 48 hours to reconsider, Zarlak said, his voice heavy with regret. I urge you to comply. The alternative would be devastating. As the transmission cut off, Zarlak turned to his crew. Prepare for all contingencies. I fear we may have just ignited a powder keg. The next 2 days passed in a blur of frantic activity. The humans made no further attempts at communication, but long-range scanners showed a flurry of movement around Earth and its colonies on Mars and the Moon. Captain, Ixel reported as the deadline approached, we're detecting unusual energy signatures from the planet's surface and orbital installations. It appears they're activating some kind of previously undetected defense network. Zarlak's central eye pulsed with a mix of dread and admiration. Even in the face of overwhelming odds, the humans were preparing to fight. Have they made any attempts to evacuate their population centers? Ixel's appendages danced over her console. Negative, Captain. In fact, we're seeing increased activity in major cities. It's as if they're rallying. As the final minutes ticked away, the bridge of the Nexus Seeker was silent, the crew watching the beautiful blue planet with a mixture of awe and trepidation. Suddenly, the comm system crackled to life. President Novak's face appeared on the view screen, his expression resolute. Captain Zarlak, I speak now on behalf of not just Earth, but all of humanity. We have considered your ultimatum, and we have made our decision. Novak paused, his eyes blazing with determination. We do not bow to threats. We do not surrender our freedom. If you want our world, you'll have to take it from us. Before Zarlak could respond, the transmission cut off. Moments later, alarms blared across the bridge. Multiple launches detected. Ixel shouted, Energy readings are off the charts. Zarlak watched in stunned silence as thousands of points of light erupted from Earth's surface, streaking towards the Nexus Seeker and the Confederacy fleet that had arrived to support the ultimatum. "Impossible," Lumi whispered, her bioluminescence flickering with shock. "Their technology shouldn't be capable of this." As the first wave of human weapons impacted the Confederacy ships, rocking them with unexpected force, Zarlak realized the terrible mistake they had made. They had pushed a species known for its tenacity and ingenuity into a corner, and now they were about to learn why. Across the galaxy, those who knew better had a saying: "When humans get angry, run." The battle that would reshape the balance of power in the galaxy had begun, and humanity had no intention of going quietly into the night. Humanity's unexpected response. The space around Earth erupted into chaos as humanity's response to the Galactic Confederacy's ultimatum unfolded. Captain Zarlak watched in stunned disbelief as waves of advanced weaponry he hadn't thought possible for the humans to possess slammed into the Confederacy fleet. "Shields at 60% and dropping," shouted the Nexus Seeker's defense officer, his exoskeleton clicking nervously. "Captain, these weapons, they're like nothing we've ever encountered." Zarlak's gelatinous form rippled with a mixture of fear and awe. "Evasive maneuvers. All ships, fall back to regroup." As the Confederacy fleet struggled to respond to the unexpected onslaught, the true extent of humanity's preparedness became clear. What had appeared to be simple satellites suddenly transformed, unfolding into heavily armed battle stations. The moon's surface cracked open, revealing massive cannons that began firing salvos of energy pulses that tore through the Confederacy's ships like paper. "By the void," Lumi whispered, her bioluminescence pulsing erratically. "They were ready for us. All this time, they were ready." On the main view screen, President Novik's face appeared once more, his eyes blazing with a fire that sent shivers through every member of the Nexus Seeker's crew. "You thought us primitive," Novik's voice boomed, filled with a mixture of anger and pride. "You thought us easy prey. But humanity has been preparing for this day for centuries. We've survived world wars, overcome global disasters, and united our planet. Did you really think we wouldn't be ready for threats from beyond the stars?" As if to punctuate his words, a massive vessel emerged from behind Mars, dwarfing even the largest Confederacy ships. Its hull gleamed with an otherworldly metal, and energy crackled along its surface in patterns that defied the laws of physics as Zarlak understood them. "Impossible," Ixel muttered, her appendages dancing frantically over her console. "Captain, that ship, it's generating a localized field that's warping space-time itself." Zarlak's central eye widened in shock. "They've mastered gravity manipulation. But how? Their technology was nowhere near this advanced." "You pushed us, alien," Novik continued, his voice carrying a hint of grim satisfaction. "You threatened our home, our freedom, our very existence. And in doing so, you've awoken a sleeping giant. Humanity will not go quietly into the night. We will not vanish without a fight." As Novak spoke, the massive human vessel unleashed a weapon that seemed to bend reality itself. A wave of distorted space washed over the Confederacy fleet, causing ships to crumple and implode as if crushed by an invisible hand. "All ships, full retreat," Zarlak ordered, his voice trembling. "We've gravely underestimated the humans. We need to regroup and reassess." As the remnants of the once mighty Confederacy fleet fled from the Sol system, the true scope of humanity's response became clear. It wasn't just about defending Earth. Humanity was taking the fight to the stars. Long-range sensors detected human ships emerging from hidden bases throughout their solar system, their engines flaring with impossible energy as they gave chase to the retreating Confederacy forces. "Captain," Vex called out, his antennae twitching with alarm. "We're receiving reports from across Confederacy space. Human ships are appearing in multiple systems, attacking our outposts and colonies." Zarlak's form quivered with disbelief. "That's not possible. They couldn't have developed FTL technology so quickly. It appears they've had it all along, sir, Ixel interjected, her voice filled with awe and terror. The energy signatures matched the anomalies we detected during their initial defense. They'd been hiding their true capabilities, waiting for a moment like this. As the Nexus Seeker limped away from the battlefield, Zarlak realized the terrible truth. The Galactic Confederacy, in its arrogance, had not only threatened a species far more advanced than they had realized, but had also given that species a reason to unleash its full might upon the galaxy. Reports flooded in from across Confederacy space. Human ships, utilizing technologies that seemed to defy the very laws of physics, were striking with surgical precision. They targeted military installations and shipyards, crippling the Confederacy's ability to respond while largely avoiding civilian casualties. "They're not out for vengeance," Lumi observed, her voice filled with a mix of relief and apprehension. "They're dismantling our military capabilities, but they're showing restraint." Zarlak's central eye pulsed with a glimmer of hope. Perhaps, despite the Confederacy's grievous error, there was still a chance for peace. As the Nexus Seeker approached the Confederacy's capital world, a transmission cut through the chaos. It was High Counselor Vexalia, her crystalline form flickering with barely contained panic. "Captain Zarlak, the situation is dire. The humans have breached our deepest defenses. They're demanding an audience with the full Galactic Council. We have no choice but to comply." Zarlak felt a mix of dread and anticipation wash over him. "Understood, High Counselor. We're en route to the capital now. Perhaps there's still a chance to salvage this situation." As the battered Nexus Seeker limped into orbit around the Confederacy's gleaming capital world, Zarlak couldn't help but marvel at the human ships that now patrolled the system. Their designs were unlike anything he had ever seen, a perfect blend of art and devastatingly efficient function. A new transmission crackled to life, and President Novik's face appeared once more on the view screen. But this time, his expression was not one of anger or triumph, but of solemn determination. "Captain Zarlak," Novik began, his voice steady and resolute, "your ship will escort our diplomatic vessel to the surface. It's time we had a real conversation about the future of galactic relations." As Zarlak acknowledged the order, he realized that the galaxy as he knew it had changed forever. The humans, a species they had dismissed as primitive, had not only repelled their attack, but had brought the mighty Galactic Confederacy to its knees in a matter of days. The next few hours would determine the fate of countless worlds and species, and as Zarlak prepared to face the consequences of the Confederacy's actions, one thought echoed through his mind. When humans get angry, you don't just run. You pray they'll show mercy. The true test of humanity's character was about to begin. The battle that shook the stars. The Grand Chamber of the Galactic Council, once a symbol of unity and cosmic diplomacy, now stood as a testament to the folly of underestimating humanity. Captain Zarlak's gelatinous form quivered with a mixture of awe and trepidation as he watched the human delegation enter. President Novik led the group, flanked by General Chen and a diverse array of human experts. Their faces were stern, but their eyes held a spark of curiosity that belied their recent show of force. High Counselor Vexalia's crystalline form seemed to have lost some of its luster as she addressed the assembly. "Esteemed representatives of Earth, we welcome you to the Galactic Council. We humbly request to open negotiations for..." "Negotiations," General Chen interrupted, her voice sharp. "You threatened our planet with annihilation. You demanded our surrender. And now you want to negotiate." A ripple of unease passed through the alien delegates. Zarlak noticed several species he'd never seen cower in fear at the human's tone. Word of humanity's unexpected might had spread quickly. President Novik raised a hand, calming his general. "We are here to talk, High Counselor. But let's be clear. This isn't a negotiation between equals. You sought to subjugate us. We've demonstrated that we will not be subjugated. The galaxy's balance of power has shifted. As if to emphasize his point, a holographic display flickered to life in the center of the chamber. It showed real-time footage of human ships dismantling Confederacy military installations across multiple star systems. "Impossible," muttered a multi-limbed delegate from a species Zarlak didn't recognize. "They've mastered quantum entanglement communication on a galactic scale." Novak continued, his voice firm but not unkind. "We could have destroyed you. We had the power to do so. But that is not our way. Humanity has learned from its own bloody history. We seek cooperation, not domination." A murmur of surprise rippled through the chamber. Zarlak felt a glimmer of hope. Perhaps the humans were not the warmongering species they had feared. "We propose a new galactic order," Novak declared, "one based on mutual respect and shared progress. The Galactic Confederacy will be dissolved. In its place, we will establish the Interstellar Alliance of Free Peoples." The chamber erupted into chaos. Some delegates protested vehemently, while others seemed intrigued by the idea. Zarlak watched in fascination as the humans calmly weathered the storm of alien emotions. General Chen stepped forward, her presence immediately silencing the room. "Let me be clear. This is not a request. You've seen what we're capable of. We could impose our will by force. Instead, we're offering you a chance to be part of something greater." As the implications of her words sank in, Zarlak noticed a shift in the room's atmosphere. Fear was giving way to a grudging respect, and in some cases, outright admiration. One by one, representatives from various species stepped forward to pledge their support for the new alliance. Even those who had initially protested seemed to realize the futility of resistance. High Counselor Vexalia, her crystalline form dimmed with humility, addressed the humans. We accept your proposal, President Novak. The Galactic Confederacy hereby dissolves itself. We place our trust in humanity's vision for a better future." As the formalities of establishing the new Interstellar Alliance began, Zarlak found himself approached by Lumi, the bioluminescent Aryan. "Captain," Lumi whispered, her patterns pulsing with excitement, "I've been observing the humans closely. Their emotional range, their capacity for both righteous anger and forgiveness, it's unlike anything I've ever seen." Zarlak's central eye focused on the human delegation, now deep in discussion with representatives from a dozen different species. "Indeed, Lumi. I believe we've witnessed the birth of a new era in galactic history." As the day wore on, the true scope of humanity's vision became clear. They proposed joint scientific ventures, cultural exchange programs, and a mutual defense pact that would ensure the safety of all member species. But it was their approach to technology that truly astounded the galactic community. Instead of hoarding their advanced knowledge, the humans offered to share it, with safeguards to prevent its misuse. "We believe that progress should lift all boats," explained Dr. Ava Patel, Earth's leading genotechnologist. "Our goal is to elevate every species, to create a galactic community where we can all thrive together." As Zarlak listened to the humans' impassioned speech, he felt a sense of shame for how quickly the Confederacy had judged them. These were not the actions of a warmongering species, but of one that had learned hard lessons from its own history. The day's proceedings were drawing to a close when an alarm shattered the atmosphere of cautious optimism. A young human burst into the chamber, his face pale with urgency. "Mr. President, we've detected a massive energy surge at the edge of the galaxy. Something's coming. Something big." The chamber erupted into panic, but President Novak's voice cut through the chaos. "Everyone, remain calm. General Chen, deploy our forces. It's time to show the galaxy what the Interstellar Alliance can do when we stand united." As the newly formed alliance scrambled to face this unknown threat, Zarlak realized that the battle that had shook the stars was perhaps just the beginning. The true test of humanity's leadership and the strength of this fledgling alliance was yet to come. The galaxy held its breath as humanity prepared to face its first challenge as the defenders of a united interstellar civilization. The message was clear: when humans get angry, you run. But when humans extend a hand in friendship, you grasp it tightly and never let go. A new era of interstellar relations. The grand chamber of the newly formed Interstellar Alliance, once filled with the tense atmosphere of negotiations, now buzzed with frantic activity. Holographic displays flickered to life, showing a massive anomaly at the edge of the galaxy, a swirling vortex of dark energy that seemed to defy the laws of physics. President Novak stood at the center of the storm, his face a mask of determination. All Alliance ships moved to defensive positions. This is not a drill. We face an unknown threat, and we will face it together. Captain Zarlak watched in awe as human commanders coordinated with alien fleet captains, their recent animosity forgotten in the face of a common enemy. The efficiency and adaptability of the humans continued to astonish him. Captain, Lumi's bioluminescent patterns pulsed urgently. The humans are requesting our assistance. They want the Nexus Seeker to join their front line. Zarlak's gelatinous form rippled with a mix of fear and resolve. Then that's where we'll be. It's time we proved our worth to this new alliance. As the combined fleet of the Interstellar Alliance took up positions, the dark energy vortex pulsed ominously. Suddenly, massive ships began to emerge, biomechanical monstrosities that seemed to absorb light itself. "By the void," whispered Ixel, her appendages trembling. "Those ships, they're like nothing we've ever encountered. Our weapons may be useless against them." General Chen's voice crackled over the comm system, steady and resolute. "All ships, hold your positions. Earth Defense Force, prepare to deploy the Horizon Protocol." A hushed silence fell over the Alliance fleet as they watched a squadron of human ships move into formation. Energy began to build around them, creating a web of iridescent light that connected each vessel. "What are they doing?" Zarlak wondered aloud, his central eye fixed on the spectacle. As if in answer, the lead human ship fired a beam of pure energy into the heart of the enemy fleet. The beam was instantly amplified and redirected by each ship in the formation, creating a cascading effect that ripped through space-time itself. The result was devastating. The biomechanical ships twisted and warped, some imploding while others were torn apart by the fabric of reality itself. In a matter of moments, half of the invading fleet had been reduced to cosmic dust. Cheers erupted across the Alliance channels, but the battle was far from over. The remaining enemy ships regrouped, adapting to the human attack with terrifying speed. "All ships, engage at will." President Novik's voice boomed across the comms. "Show them the strength of our unity." What followed was a battle that would be remembered for generations to come. Human ingenuity combined with alien technologies in ways never before imagined. The Nexus Seeker found itself fighting alongside ships it had faced as enemies mere days ago, its sensors and shields augmented by human quantum technology. Zarlak watched in awe as a Volteri cruiser, its weapons depleted, sacrificed itself to protect a human destroyer. The destroyer, in turn, unleashed a barrage that crippled 3 enemy ships. As the battle raged on, it became clear that the invaders, while powerful, lacked the adaptability and spirit of the Alliance forces. One by one, the biomechanical ships fell to the combined might of a united galaxy. Hours later, as the last enemy ship crumbled under a combined assault from human, Volteri, and Aryan forces, a deafening cheer echoed across the battlefield. The Interstellar Alliance had faced its first test and emerged victorious. In the aftermath of the battle, as ships limped back to the Alliance's capital world for repairs, Zarlak found himself summoned to a meeting with President Novak and the other key figures of the Alliance. The mood in the room was somber yet hopeful. Faces that had been set in grim determination during the battle now showed signs of cautious optimism. "My friends," Novak began, his voice tired but filled with pride. "Today we have witnessed the birth of a true galactic community. We faced an enemy that threatened not just one world or one species, but all of us. And we prevailed." High Counselor Vexolia, her crystalline form glowing with renewed vigor, spoke next. President Novak, on behalf of all the former Confederacy worlds, I extend our deepest gratitude. You could have conquered us, yet you chose to unite us. We pledge our full support to this alliance and to the vision of a better future for all species. Zarlak felt a swell of emotion as representatives from dozens of species echoed Vexolia's sentiments. The galaxy was changing, and humanity was at the heart of that change. Captain Zarlak, Novak addressed him directly, a warm smile on his face. Your actions today have proven that the spirit of cooperation can overcome even the deepest of misunderstandings. We would be honored if you would accept a position as one of the Alliance's chief diplomatic officers. Zarlak's gelatinous form rippled with surprise and gratitude. The honor would be mine, President Novak. I pledge to serve the Alliance and its ideals to the best of my abilities. As the meeting concluded and plans were made to study the remnants of the invading force, Zarlak found himself reflecting on the whirlwind of events that had led to this moment. The galaxy had learned a valuable lesson. When humans get angry, you run. But when humans extend a hand in friendship and unite for a common cause, you stand with them, for there is no force in the universe that can stand against such a union. The Nexus Seeker, once a harbinger of conflict, now stood as a symbol of this new era. As Zarlak gazed out at the bustling activity of the Alliance's capital world, he felt a sense of hope and excitement for the future. The age of isolation and fear was over. A new chapter in galactic history had begun, written by the combined efforts of all sentient species, with humanity holding the pen. The stars themselves seemed to shine brighter, as if in approval of this new cosmic order. And somewhere out there, in the vast expanse of space, other threats might be lurking. But Zarlak knew that whatever challenges lay ahead, the Interstellar Alliance, born from conflict but forged in unity, would face them together. The galaxy had learned to respect humanity's anger, but now it would thrive under humanity's leadership, and that Zarlak realized was the greatest adventure of all.